Welcome to The 100 TV. Real conversations with real people. All of this has been an evolution. Right? Nothing about this journey is how I thought it was going to be. You know, shout out to the Free Game Society, man. Shout out to everybody, Team 100. Shout out to everybody that just keeps rocking, that understands what's going on here. We're just trying to make changes without compromising the truth, right? We're not up here just for the views. We're here for the impact. But you know, you be the judge, man. Lock in with us. We can agree to disagree, you know. But regardless, we're going to keep it 100. You can't keep it 100 with anybody unless you keep it 100 with yourself, man. Let's be clear. You gotta come correct, man. They'll pick you apart nowadays, man. People doing homework, you know what I'm talking about? So when we talk, we talking from a perspective of experience. We talking through the life journey, our ups and downs. You know, we giving it to you that way, right? But who are we though, man? We just like y'all. You ready? Alright, well, come on in. We going in. The 100 TV. Y'all better tap in, man. Like, follow, subscribe, hit the notification button, all that stuff, man. So when we live, y'all live, man. Become a part of the conversation, man. It's not my platform, it's our platform. 100. And just let that ride, man. You know what I'm saying? 100. That's all I know. Peace to the planet Earth, man. On this beautiful Thursday. First and foremost, man, shout out to my crew right here. I call the starting five. Even my man up there in the darkness. Oh, wait, no, his phone's still updated, man. Hey, let me unmute everybody real quick, man. Before I shout them out or allow them to shout themselves out, introduce themselves, man. Definitely want to shout out each and every one of you that's locked into the content each and every week. Everybody that's been pushing the content to everywhere that it's going, it just got crazy, and it's only because of y'all. I don't even know where to start, man. Shout out to Elevated Not Podcast. Shout out to Dusty Vision TV. Shout out to Uncaged Love Podcast. Shout out to Winging It Millennial Podcast. Shout out to the Ryan Stewart Podcast at CBS Radio. And if I forgot anybody, man, charge it to my mind and not my heart, man. The story has been getting out there, and now more people want to know. But what I'm grateful for is they don't necessarily want to know my story. They want to know all of our story. Everybody that's incarcerated, they're looking for another voice. So I'm always grateful in that way to introduce people that I feel like have voices that I listen to. That even though they might not necessarily walk the same path as me, I know they got similar views, and maybe sometimes they don't. Which is here today is our first panel, our first of many, our first official panel. We've had like multi-screen lives and stuff like that, but this is what I would consider our first panel. The purpose is to just, I don't know, have good conversation about subjects that probably need to be spoke about right now. And are, but we want to talk about them too. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're going to do tonight. Before we get into it, though, I want to allow my guests, even though I know them, I feel like I know each and every one of them quite well now, man. I just want y'all to shout yourselves out. Let everybody know who you are and things of that nature, man.
Yo. Good evening. It's your girl T Spills, T Spills, the podcast. Thank you so much, 100 TV, for letting me be a part of this beautiful space again. And I'm just looking forward to building with you guys. It was nice meeting you guys. So, whoop, whoop. Let's talk about it.
Most definitely. Who's next?
I go next. My name is Sabir. I'm a trucker.
Hey, man, you need to have your whole page for trucking stuff. I go to this guy.
Man. Yeah, you know, and I just, you know what I mean? Hey, man, I ain't really got a whole lot to say, man. You know what I mean? Just a trucker, man. Just trying to be a good dude, man. Ex-convict trying to be a good dude. That's it. You know what I mean?
Man.
You're a Buffalo Bill fan, too.
Big Bills Mafia.
That's right. That's right. Buffalo's in New York. Buffalo is in New York. So.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
All of the heads shaking in the faces. Come on, man.
Yeah. That's a fact. You know what I mean? Well, you know, it's cool.
Man,
you know what I mean?
Y'all good to go, man. Hey, but ask him why he got a Giants jersey on, though.
Why? Who does?
What jersey you got on?
Who are you down there with the Giants jersey?
Giants.
So stop shouting out Buffalo.
Buffalo's in New York, brother.
Yeah.
BJ, who are you, man? BJ, let them know who you are.
My name is. How y'all doing? First of all, good gentlemen, Queen, and the people that's gonna see this. My name is BJ Estes. I am a lot. I am me. I am a man. I'm a community leader. I am a ex-football coach. Big community activist. I act on a TV show. I'm acting in a movie. I partner with nonprofits. I don't stop. Say that. I go. I sleep and breathe when I'm dead. And while I'm alive, if I'm resting, somebody ain't getting no blessing. Let's get to it.
That's the Zach Randolph of Phoebus right there. That's what I call him. Yeah. Zach Randolph.
Hawk Smash is Zach Randolph in one. Yes.
Yeah.
Freddie.
Hey, Freddie Williams, humble man of God. That's about it. It's always a privilege. I'll say this every time that I get on here to be invited.
He just glitched out. He's gone, y'all.
That daggone jersey.
Just like that. My man froze up. I'm gonna keep him on the screen just like that too.
Yeah, look at that. I wish I could screenshot that. That's how Giants fans look every week.
Y'all live right, man. Y'all live right.
That's hilarious.
Oh, man. Hey,
I'm glad I'm not a sports fan.
I know he'll hop back up and he probably shoot me a text. But nonetheless, man, he hit it on the head. I just brought Freddie up here just like everybody else. I feel like everybody's got something to say. There is a lot going on in the world today. When you pay attention to what's happening in politics, I'm in Atlanta, and the politics down here, like the battle, like the war that went on between that. I had the opportunity to go see Obama speak, Raphael Warnock, which was amazing for somebody like me. And I seen how serious it was. I started having conversations with people about the laws, not just here that affect just this state, but the country as a whole, and really taking the time to understand. I didn't know that when they passed the protection laws for same-sex marriage, they also passed. They had to repass protection laws for interracial marriage, which was crazy because it's 2022, and I'm like, I thought about the movie about the couple from Virginia.
Loving.
That's exactly what I thought, and I was like, yo, what? So with that stuff like that in the media, with the Roe versus Wade thing that's going on, which is crazy. Anytime somebody can tell somebody else what to do with their body, that makes me a little bit nervous. With the affirmative action being in front of the Supreme Court, I believe for the second time now, which means they weren't content with the first time they didn't accomplish what they were trying to accomplish. There's just a lot going on. We're in 2020.
This is Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, I apologize to interject, but when COVID came along, right, in history has a time of repeating itself, right? Nothing is new under the sun, right? So we are coming upon, we are in the time frame in which things have to change again, because most laws have an expiration date. Most amendments, most bills, they have expiration dates. That is kind of like the clause in which they are made, right? So with that being said, I'm glad you picked out all of those things. That's why I think COVID was a distraction, because within that time, we were so focused on COVID, legislation was being passed. If you look up this stuff, you can look it up for yourself. It was a lot of legislations that were passed in the year of 2019 to 2021, even currently. But it's real big. When you get a chance, I just want to throw that out there for y'all to look it up for yourselves, or the people to look it up for yourself. They were using a distraction tactic.
I'm gonna tell you this. To that point or not to that point, I know this. When COVID hit, a lot of people understood they weren't as free as they thought they were. And that's part of why I titled today, what's free, or the definition of freedom. And I'm glad you brought that up, because when COVID hit, I came home January 13th of 2020, COVID hit. And now I remember I had to get a certain piece of paper to drive down the road to my job. And it was like we was in a real movie. We couldn't go, we had to walk a certain way and down aisles in the store. You know what I'm saying? There were certain things that you couldn't even move against protocol in certain moments. You know what I'm saying? And I think for me, and for the rest of the gentlemen that's up here, I think I can speak if they experienced it. No, I'm gonna speak just for myself. It reminded me like controlled movement in prison.
Oh yeah.
And I was immediately like, oh. And I'm gonna tell you a fun fact before I throw that back in about the COVID. During COVID, the Pentagon released a bunch of videos of all the UFOs, unidentified. So I know what you're saying. I'm just saying, whether you into that stuff or not, people weren't paying. The government put some stuff out there, whether it was law. I know a lot of stuff because people were focused for trying to live. But bringing that up, I want to get into it, man. We're going into 2023. Some people say, when we look at the definition of freedom, they say that racism is tied to it. Some people saying that we're going backwards as a country. Some people say it's not really going into that. It's more about classism, money. Do you think it gets better? Do you think society is going to improve in 2023? Do you think we'll feel less restricted by anxieties and what's going on with the politics? Or do you think we're down? It's a slippery slope we're about to ride down for a minute.
I feel like far as the racism, I feel like racism is never going to go away. Because the racism, the reason why racism is so dangerous, because it's a lot of people in positions of power with unlimited resources and unlimited streams and amounts of money who are racist. And then racism is not, like you just wake up and you are that, you're taught. And it's those people that are in positions of power who are teaching this, and it's trickling down. So when you got the powers that be behind the closed doors, making laws, doing the legislation and all this and that, it'll never go away. But the resilience of not just Black people, Mexican people, everybody, the resilience of people of color to keep grinding, to keep building brands and empires and legacies and stuff, we're becoming more of the millionaire and billionaire percentile. So now they have to deal with us. They have to address us. They can't just do what they want now, because a lot of us got the same kind of money. So it make it harder, but that's the slippery slope. Because as we grow, either they're going to adjust and conform to it, or they're going to butt it head on. And that's when more problems come. So it all depends on those type situations. My opinion.
The danger of racism is that it's usually employed by the ruling class or the majority class. It's one thing to be prejudiced. It's one thing to be biased. It's a whole nother thing to engage in racism, because it becomes institutionalized. Where almost every institution, whether it's education, whether it's finance, whether it's housing, whether it's corrections, no matter what it is, all in the backdrop has the undercurrent, the undertones of white supremacy and racism. And I think moving forward, the danger is for it to become more pronounced, because I think that if we don't wake up and begin to seize these political offices, the sister made a good point about researching laws. You know, we should be engaged in the business of knowing what our laws are, or at least have some people who are researching that. And again, raising people up to begin to enter into these political offices that historically have been populated by individuals who don't care about us. And guess what? You might be able to be black and be a racist, you know, if you're against what we're for. You know, if you're not embracing the vision and you don't have a common cause like we do, brother, you can be just as racist as the whitest white man.
Facts.
Yeah, facts. Facts.
Do you think? So I want to ask this just for the sake of it. When you see things like Roe versus Wade, when you see things like affirmative action, whether you agree with that or not, when you see things that were put in place as at the times being perceived as protection for people, and then you're seeing things like, hey, we're not going to do that anymore, or we don't want to do that anymore. To me, that's a shot in the air. You're letting everybody know, hey, I'm drawing attention. It's almost like there's no hiding anymore. I think that. And I think part of that is with social media. A lot of times you can't hide anymore. Information travels a lot faster, so you can get exposed a lot faster or found to be true. And I think some of the politicians, they don't care. I don't know if you guys, I remember when Trump was debating Hillary Clinton, and at one point he looked at her and he said, "I don't care. Pull your paperwork out too." They were talking about taxes. And he literally says, you guys can pull this up. He says, I use the same codes you guys do, but you don't want to pull your paperwork up because then you're not going to get the same benefits I do. He was basically telling the world, in front of the world, we're using the system, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was exposing it and he spoke on it. What do you say to somebody that is African American, that's black, that's looking to get, you know, I want to say be a part of these systems? And when I say that, historically, we know the police force has been Caucasian. You know what I'm saying? Its roots through the eye. What do you say to the young guy that looks like myself, BJ, whoever, Sabir, anybody, T Spills, the young lady wants to become a police officer? Do you think it's pertinent that we get more people that look like us into these positions? Yes. Police officers and judges.
It's essential. It's essential. Not just look like us, but think like us.
Yes.
And feel like
us. Yep. That's the only way we can affect a real change. Because see, that's the difference between us and our counterparts. Our counterparts infiltrate. And that's all that is. Putting yourself in position so that you can affect the change. We have to see, because it's all systematically set up so that we will have a deterrence. See, because if you really understand, especially when we go so far as law, especially as far as, well, all laws technically, since of the United States of America, were written up in a way to justify one group and diminish another. Like we're talking about Roe versus Wade, right? I think in 2023, we're going to be talking about our freedom as Black people, all of those who are African Americans, Blacks, Negroes, or whatever, because let's understand that time has ran out also. See, but we ain't talking about that because it's not there yet. I think we have to be more proactive and going and tying it right back into what your question was about, should we be more? I was just preaching this to a young lady earlier at my job about how she's going to school for criminal justice, and I'm like, yes, do that. And she's like, she want to become a lawyer, she's kind of undecided, and I'm like, well, you know what you could do? You could go, because since you want to be a lawyer to be at the more proactive stage, go be a probation officer to see after the actual thing has occurred and you're at the reactive stage, then you could be a better attorney because you know what you want to prevent and you can better fight for that person because of that. Like I even started studying criminal justice because of that. No, I didn't finish, but I got the knowledge, and I want to do something further with it because I understand the importance of, if we're not in position, we can't never affect change. You can't affect change from the outside of the house. You got to be inside the house to change. So I mean, you can. I don't want to say you can't. That was the wrong wording, but it's harder. Say,
I'd like to give a.
Oh, what?
Yes, sir.
Stop here. Let me ask you real quick, because you sitting back there in the cut, man. You travel across the country. I pay attention. When I say I pay attention for real. And I remember. I remember you posted something. I don't know if it was on an IG story, something. It was about you going into a Walmart somewhere.
Oh yeah. You want me to tell that story?
Tell that story, man, because I feel like it kind of definitely goes in line with what we're talking about a little bit. All right,
don't mind. I'll tell it. It was it kind of threw me off. First and foremost, I wasn't expecting this. I've been to every state. Just to give a quick brief, because everybody who's listening probably don't know this, but I've been to every state on the mainland, meaning all 48 states outside of Hawaii and Alaska, trucking or whatever, right? So I done been in some spots where you look around, you be like, I'm not getting out. Simple. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be real with you. You know what I mean? Like, it's dark, I can't see nothing. Not even gonna put myself in that type of predicament, right? So boom, what happened was this. At the time, I'm team driving going from East Coast to West Coast, and I'm riding with a guy from Philadelphia. He's an older gentleman. Me and him both been, on the inside or whatever. He been in before too in the feds or whatever. So I don't remember the name of the city, but we go into Walmart. Everybody in there is indigenous. You know what I mean? Like everybody's in there is of Indian descent, right? So they was looking like they didn't like to see no black faces in there. And I was surprised because I'm thinking like, because, we black, we should be all right. You know what I mean? They definitely was not happy to see our faces in the store. So much so that while we was in there, me and him was talking. We noticed it immediately. You know how it is. Y'all, you've been on the inside. You pay attention to the slightest thing. You know what I mean? And we seen this other couple. It was two black girls and an Indian dude. Come to find out, the dude was married to one of them, and they was kind of tripping off the fact like, oh, look, there's some more black people in here. Like, hey, what's up? What's going on? Because there was literally nobody of any other color outside of Indian in the store. And while we was in there, they was being real nasty, man. Like it got me mad. You know what I mean? Like I was a little taken aback by it. But the one thing that that came to mind is the fact that New Mexico is not too far away from California. You know what I mean? I don't know who done came out there and rubbed them people the wrong way, or they just got the mindset where if you're not one of us, a Native American, then we don't like you or we don't want you around, or this is our little area. Why y'all got to come out here? You get what I'm saying? It was pretty.
That's what I wanted you to bring that story up, because that's what I was getting. I think sometimes when we look at racism, though, Fred hit it a little bit. I want to go back to that point though. Racism isn't limited to a specific group of people of color. I can tell you, hands down, growing up as the light-skinned mixed kid in Chicago, I got picked on and had to fight more dudes that look like BJ, Fred, and Sabir, y'all three, no harm and disrespect, than Joe from the suburbs. You feel me? So I learned at an early age, it's more about mindset. It's more about what Fred says. It's more about mind, where you are with things. I look at it in a situation like that and connecting it to society. Hatred is at an all-time high. Anger is at an all-time high. It's not coming from different places. It's not coming from specific places. You don't know where it's coming from. And when I look at freedom, I don't necessarily just look at it, I don't want to be physically in bondage, but just mentally free. And I think about when I brought up this topic to bring shifted into a different perspective. When I was younger, I didn't think about the things. Now I look up. I'm losing friends. I'm losing people I spoke to on Facebook, on Messenger 2 months ago. I'm seeing this guy I used to speak to for hours lose his life to drug. You get older, you see things, and the news. You start watching. I don't know why anybody watches the news, right? And you see you can't even go to Walmart, right? And Fred told me this, which is a good. I'm paraphrasing. I'm gonna say what I got from Fred. Through your faith is how you can live free, live freely. You conquer the negative thoughts with the pot. But a lot of times I'm having conversations with people and they say they don't feel free right now because of the thoughts, the anxieties, what's looming overhead. So what is the plan? Is there a plan? Like if y'all were president of the world or whatever, if you could just put in a plan or shift or encourage, like what do you think turns back the dial on the anger and that's got a lot of people feeling like they got to move a lot of people are picking up guns, not because they want to, but because nobody's fighting no more. You know what I'm saying? They're being put in situations where they're not free. BJ, what are your thoughts on that? Like, is there a plan? You're in the community, you're activists, you're with the youth, you're in the trenches. I know you're not one of them that's on the pulpit, you're doing the work. So, like, how do we shift it? How do people start feeling free and not concerned with what's going on in society? Is there a way? And let me unmute you. You got yourself muted, so I can't. So I'm gonna shift it over to Freddie real quick.
I don't know if there is a overall all-encompassing plan. I think I'm quote Martin Luther King. He said that every person has to write with their own hand their own charter of the Emancipation Proclamation. You've got to figure out what elements will make you free. But what I do know is that you'll never be free operating in fear, ever. Fear is a tool that is used by any enemy, but ultimately by the enemy. And I also want to throw in that ultimately racism is a byproduct of fear. We tend to compartmentalize racism to the United States. But remember, there was an imperialistic, colonialistic empires that ruled for years that went into nations that didn't look like them and conquered them. Why? Because they didn't look like them. And so in their mind, they were savages. So there's a fear factor that operates. And again, not to go on, one can never be free operating in fear. That's why one of the things when you read the Bible and other scriptures and other great books, one of the things the Lord is always saying is fear not, fear not, fear not. So we have to critically analyze our situations, and whatever it is that's causing anxiety, apprehension, anger, we have to think about why we're thinking that way.
Indeed. BJ, you're in the trench. I want to come back to you, and I feel like the thought process, what Fred said. I'm a firm believer. I've been campaigning. Get to the youth quick. Get to them with any type of services they need, mental health services, mentors, whatever they need early, because we want to kind of help the way the youth thinks. You are out there doing the work. You're not on a soapbox. You're not out there with, waving a hat and cane in the air. You out. I know who you are. You know what I'm saying? I know some people do that. I want to stand on this record and say I know some people do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I know you're one of the guys. You do it with great intention. You know what I'm saying? What is it that you're telling the youth? Or I know it's not just the youth. You talk to people all the time, but anybody. What is there a plan of action for them? Is there something you would implement? Is there something encouraging word? What is it? Because we're in a weird time. People
Honestly, with no cap, all jokes to the side, when I go to these kids and talk to these kids, when I go into the houses and try to resolve situations with the kids and the young boys and all that stuff, the main problem, like a lot of people feel like all the shootings and all the crime that we see that these youth is committing broad daylight, just reckless and crazy and all this and that. Them children, them kids, all of that stems from the parenting. It stems from the parenting. Now, understand it's hard. You know, some parents got to work 2-3 jobs. So when they come home, you know, they too tired to really engage with the children and sit down and check their homework and ask them how their day was instead of playing the game Fortnite. Sit down and play a game with them. Play chess, play checkers, play go fish. Just like real engagements, like when we were younger, you know, just engaging with the kids so they see more of you and learn you versus learning everything off of social media. If that's your child, you pay the bill on that phone, go through that child phone. Look and see what your child doing. Look and see if your child is talking to gang members or hanging with the wrong crowd. Like the main reason from my perspective, from what I've been seeing, it's not really debate. The babies are not guided and they're not being taught. And they are pretty much parenting themselves, and the parents is almost scared of the kids and just letting them do whatever they want. They can go to bed when they want. They got company over 12, 1 o'clock in the morning on school nights. Like, it's crazy. And I'm like, you wonder why your child has problems.
I'm gonna tell you this. This happened last Friday, somewhere towards the end of last week. I drive a truck in the morning. I work for sanitation. I'm delivering trash cans, minding my business. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. The sun's shining in Atlanta. Nice subdivision, big. I see an officer come out. You know, one of them officers. He got the unmarked, and you can see it's shining from afar. And he come down that small talk. Hey, how you doing? In the midst of this conversation, now he tells me. He said, also, I don't know how we got there. We started talking about the youth. And he said, yeah, man, it's bad out there. He said, he said, me and my guys, if we got a rule. If we see him about to do something crazy, we don't even go over there. We just put the blinders on and keep driving. They got a rule, he told me, that said, if it ain't called in, it ain't our call. And I said, and he felt so freely to tell me that, I don't care. I said out loud, I could not believe what I was hearing. Because let me tell you something. That is bananas. Whether you agree with having policemen or not, when the policemen are saying, hey, we don't want nothing to do with it. If they don't call us, it's none of our business. We can see them about to do something. They don't want to confront. They don't want to confront. And I think that's one of the issues too. We used to make a joke and we say white kids, they used to cuss their mamas out. I see black kids doing it now. They be in Walmart. They be going crazy. I be like, and I think the parents, not all parents, because you still got some mamas that'll pull up and beat you out Walmart, old school. You know what I'm saying? But I think what I'm seeing, and I'm not qualified because I'm not a parent, but I'm just seeing that in a public place. You know what I'm saying? T Spills, to the young ladies. Right? Yes, because part of freedom is being you. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing for the young men. It's just being you. It's for the young lady. When I think about young ladies, I feel like, and I got into a debate, one of my guests, and I see he was very pro young men. There's not enough for young men, and I respect that, obviously. But the ladies out here, the young lady, I feel like a lot of them are being pressured either by the actions of us or their peers or social media. Like, I think about Glorilla and FNet, like the message is being pushed out. Oh, like what? Because that's not, do you think they really feel like that, or you think they just riding the wave? Like, what do you say to the younger sisters? And hey, I like Glorilla. Hey, shout out to the music, I guess. But yeah, I'm saying, like, what do you say?
Well, it kind of ties into what all you guys have kind of said when it comes to the youth. It's really no different from with the young ladies. I think it's because of the parents and it shifted. It's because of, okay, let's go back. It's because of my generation, right? The way we were reared. Because people don't like to talk about, we are the ones who dropped the ball because we are the parents of this generation. We are that generation that are parents in this generation, right? So, well, we probably would say you might be a little bit above my generation, Mr. Freddie, just a little too big. But I think you're still all about it. I'm not being funny, I'm just being
I like her.
And let's go to the loops. What is all this?
I'm just trying to be, I won't be, no shade though. I respect you a lot, and I think I meant it too. But we are the generation of parents the generation that's parenting these children, right? So you got to think, a lot of us are from the crack and Ritalin epidemic, right? And I think I spoke about this before on my show, but I talk about this because we act like this doesn't take a significant play a significant role, but it does. Let me tell you why. Because we talk about mindset, right? Let's go back to crack is a chemical. Ritalin is a chemical, right? They both know, well, Ritalin, they took off the market for whatever reason, but follow the logic. Now we are the generation that are a direct product of these two pandemics, epidemics, whatever you want to call it, right? So now we have had children, right? Now, before we even get into the social disproportion of how the family unit is ran, before we even get that far, let's get into the parent who is having these generational youth. So they are, most of them, if they're not affected by both the crack and the Ritalin, is one or the other, right? So these chemical imbalance created a chemical imbalance because these are chemical things that created a chemical imbalance. Then when you breed a child, you change your genetic makeup, right? Now, maybe both parents be products of this, maybe one parent might be product of this, right? Then you have a child. Now, the child is a direct product of both of what I got going on. Then we ain't even talking about the mental health issues that can come into play with that. We ain't even talking about the family dynamic or nothing like that. So before we even get to that point, we already have a disadvantage, right? Then when we go to women, I said all this to say, a lot of young girls from this generation were taught, if you got a poo-poo, you should never be broke. Now, that has graduated into something bigger because now, like you said before, we have social media. So now it started with, okay, we just dress a little, because every generation, let's go back before even this generation, my generation, every generation has advanced and did lesser and lesser. Because shoot, before, back in the day, I seen a little nudie things, wearing a little bustier was nudie, and you were covered up with some stockings on. That was like real promiscuous. And it has went further and further. Mini skirts were promiscuous. Daisy Dukes were promiscuous. And then now it's pretty much nothing. So if we look, nothing just starts. It evolves over time. But because it hasn't reached a point where we're disgusted or where we feel like it's too bad, it keeps growing, right? So now, I said all that to say, you got to think, okay, so you got that generation that taught the kids, oh, if you got a poo-poo, you should never be broke. So that already planted the seed. Money, my body. So where I'm getting to that is now you got women doing BBLs. You got women, and then men don't make it no better because we look to men's example. Hey, men tell you want the bad jank. I want you to have small waist, big hips, big breasts. It's not everybody, but we just saying this is a big influential part.
You know what's
then
crazy?
Women are not. Oh wait, I'm sorry.
Nah, you know what's crazy, and I want to chime in on that.
Chime in.
We're creating a false bar.
Thanks.
Like we're raising the bar with these expectations that don't exist. You know, and I just because I want to segue into this next point. I don't know in a society like this how a kid is a kid. I don't know. I mean, I know now. I've seen my next door neighbors are the greatest parents in Israel. Their kids are kids, but I'm just thinking about all the kids. The majority of kids, are they? I don't know how they're kids. With social media, the things they're exposed to at an early age, You got kids 2 years old know how to work the tablet. I don't know what they start. And I want to chime into the point too, T Spills. You spoke about just mental health, chemical imbalances, stuff like it's all tied in, right? When they talk about mental health being passed down, being hereditary, a lot of it is stemmed from substance abuse issues and other issues that weren't, addressed correctly. So that's definitely a point. There's not enough services for the youth. There's not enough. Right now in Atlanta, they're discussing a 7 p.m. curfew, which I am in absolute support of, as my dog is going crazy over here. I am in absolute support. And I'm not saying these kids shouldn't be able to run around, but right now these kids are killing each other. They're down there in Atlantic Station, 14, 15-year-old, killing each other and celebrating. So as adults, you guys are still kids. So go sit down, breathe. Don't be out at night, so yeah, freedom tied to them kids. We gotta make the decisions that allow kids to be kids. But I want to segue into this point. Me and Sabir, man, we talk about money. Everybody talks about money. Me and Fred talk about money. Everybody talks about money. I think about things like the trucking industry. I think about the industry that I'm in. Though I'm technically a trucker, as Sabir reminded me. Although that's
definitely a trucker.
My second job, but I'm definitely a trucker, and I'm proud of that. I get up every morning, very proud of that as well.
No doubt. But
I think about like the financial shifts in the trucking industry. The ups and downs. I've got brothers that they're like, yo, it's not like what. Then I got some brothers they rolling. They found their lane. But what I'm getting to is a big part of freedom for me, and maybe you, maybe anybody else is on the stream, is financial freedom. It's being able to be in a position where you can kind of create your own stability. Because I've seen this post, and this is not at all, to take a shot. Because like I said, I punch the clock every morning, so don't get it confused. Although I'm a business owner, I punch the clock. But Dame Dash was up there one time on Breakfast Club, and he looks at DJ Envy and Charlamagne. You know what I'm talking about? And he said, I paraphrase him. He says, "Hey man, Dame Dash," he said, "Are you a boss?" To DJ Envy, he's like, "Yeah." Dame Dash like, "No, you're not." He's like, "Somebody else is in control of your money. They can walk in here right now and say, you're done. You don't have no more job." And then he took it a step further. He said, "How does your son feel knowing that another man puts money in it?" Again, I want to be clear. I punch the clock. I get a paycheck from a company that does it. So I get what he was saying. But I also get what he was saying when he said, "I don't work for nobody but myself." He said, "My son just launched a cookie company that he owns and he's pushing." So I know that side of it too. You know what I'm saying? I know that side of freedom when it comes to finances. Maybe not. I ain't never touched no money, but I know what it means to just be focused on your business. With the recession, with the inflation, with all these things going on, with the shifting in different industries, Sabir, like what steps does one take? What are some do's and don'ts when it comes to finances? Like, what are some things you've learned? Because one of the questions guys keep asking that are coming home from penitentiary is, how can I budget? What should I do? Such and such. I need a vehicle. Like basic survival questions that I wish somebody would have broke down to me when I came home. Although I had a good support system, but I didn't know the value of groceries, stuff like that. Like when it comes to financial freedom, what are your thoughts on it?
I'm gonna just say this. I think that I'm unqualified to speak on that to a certain extent. Only reason why I say that because I'm not financially free. You get what I'm saying? I think all of us, especially, and this ain't nothing against nobody else, but I got more of a deeper bond with the guys that I walk the yard with. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? Like we all come through a similar situation. I think that all of us in our own way is trying to obtain that goal because you can see the beauty in being able to have the ability to be like, I'm not doing nothing this week. I know people who can do that. You know what I mean? And go on vacation and go be able to trip. You know what I mean? Like when you got a somebody that's over you, you know, like I just told one of my relatives just the other day, they got mad at my people. I don't put my people out there, but got mad at my people because they couldn't get off work to come do something that they said they was going to do. So they asked me to do it, right? And I said, hey, look, like he got a job. Like which the people say he need to stay till 11 o'clock. He can't do it. That's why I'm here. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Truthfully, this is just my opinion. I don't really like to touch the politics stuff too much, but I don't think that the system is set up for everybody to be financially free. You know what I mean? The more and more I find out, man, it's very expensive to live in our country. I don't care where you at, what state, it's expensive. When you real quick, let me just say this real quick. When you either go yourself or talk to people who have been in other countries, to hear how much money it takes to survive for a whole year without working, just the amount of money that you could take and go somewhere else and you could be all right and live very comfortably and you don't have to do nothing, is a slap in the face to me. Because it's rough out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm learning as I go along. I didn't live like this before. I wasn't doing what I'm doing now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah.
And I was literally about to say the same thing. It's like you can take 100,000 or 10,000 and go to some countries and be all right. Like
for a whole year.
Yeah, you're great. You know, and I think we need to wake up as people of color, because when we look at the amount of money that we spend on nothing, but I ain't gonna go down that rabbit hole. I'm gonna pass it on over to either Fred or T Spill. Somebody go, man. I ain't gonna go down that rabbit hole.
Finances, financial freedom. For one, it's essential, but I do kind of want to piggyback off what Sabir said, in that we do exist in a system that has been contrived to ensure everyone will not realize the American dream. But what is done is it's dangled before you as if it's easily attainable. And people tend to get frustrated and depressed and despondent when what is being publicized and propagated as you should have this, you don't have, but more importantly, you can't see yourself having. And when you look back, none of the people that you knew had it. So financial freedom, as far as attaining it, for us, one of the things is that we can't be impulse driven. We can't be driven by our desires. We can't worry about what we're driving as much as what's driving us. We're living in a society that is incredibly adept at compartmentalizing your desires and packaging them in a way that you really feel like, I've got to have that, when it's the worst thing for you. We've got to do better at things like acquiring land. The basis of all freedom, Malcolm X said, is land. We're renting, we're, lavish apartments, and, we're lacing up, a studio down, and we don't have anything else. So we've got to learn financial literacy in order to obtain financial freedom. And there's enough voices out there who've laid hold on a degree of freedom that this information is readily accessible at this point. I know my Instagram, every third reel for me is someone instructing, tutoring, teaching on how to enhance and enrich your financial situation. So, you asked how. For me, I'll just throw it out there. We have to stop being impulse driven. We have to stop thinking that Louis and Gucci and Versace, like those are the ironclad, attire of Black folk. We've got to stop that. When Target and Marshalls and Ross's and the flea market, have great stuff.
Hey,
the sister around the corner who's a seamstress would love to have this money that we're giving to Louis and Gucci. So that's just a start.
Society, I want to chime in. Society's backwards. I do not have any more than anybody else, but I work hard to have what I have. And the people that say they want what I have, they got all the design. They got everything.
Yes,
Guess where I shop? I shop at Goodwill. 93%. I say it on YouTube from the work. 93% of the time I thrift. And hey, if I can't get shoes from there, I'm gonna go to Rose. I'm gonna go somewhere, TJ Maxx, whatever. When I say I don't be pressed, and I'm thankful that I'm not in that mode, that I'm not trying to show off for anybody. And a lot of people need to get that. I'm gonna do a shameless plug before I pass it to T Spills. If you'd like to know more about financial freedom and literacy, Free Game Society will be having its first inaugural class this Sunday at 7 p.m. You can go to the 100 TV's Facebook page or my personal Facebook page at Christopher Willers and tap the Zoom link there. My wife, the wonderful Mrs. April Willers, will be teaching such things as business credit, LLC startup, and a few other things. We're inviting everybody. Tap the link and share the link and tell some friends and get some free information, and then maybe you'll be one step closer to where you need to be. T Spills, go. That was my shameless plug. You're on mute. Oh, where you at?
Okay, I think I'm on. Yeah, super dope. Now you're supposed to plug yourself in. That's what it's about. I just wanted to say you took what I was gonna say. Financial literacy is key in finding financial freedom. But then I want to throw out this right. It's like I don't know if it's a proverb or a moray, but ain't nothing in this world free. Even God's salvation costs you something. See, so when we learn that freedom is a mindset, right? It's a mindset. Because even when you guys were behind that wall, I can't speak from your perspective because I've never been there. But I've spoken. Only thing that is so crazy, the only way I'm connected, I'm on the flip side of you guys. I'm the one that was writing the kites or taking the calls or sitting there to put some money on some books. You know what I'm saying? So I understand it from that perspective. But what kept your sanity is because you kept your mind free. Because had you had to let your mind get locked down, or at one point you freed your mind, because if you had to let your mind get locked down, you wouldn't be able to be the productive kings that you all for, because he's gone, but he was here, stand to be. You get what I'm saying? So I think first, if we realize that freedom is a mindset, and then that tie back to prioritizing. See, we are $1 trillion a year consumers. So that means we make money, and everybody know we make money. We just have a piss poor way of managing money. See, money management, time management, having self-control, because that all starts with, again, when we shift our mindset, right? And we shift, because I'm a big shout out to Roses. All the T Spills, most all T Spills outfits come from Roses. Listen, I got 2 young men there wearing grown men clothes. You understand me? Same stuff y'all wear. I can't afford that. I can only afford their stuff. I can't afford my stuff. See, so like what you say, people be wanting what you got. So that's why we can't be envious. Because baby, you can't walk a mile up in my Air Forces if you like Louis and Gucci and this fake and all the extensions. Listen, listen, I can tell you about the hair, everything, nails pressed on, baby. Listen, it's a way to do everything and still look the part. You just like he said, the young lady like to be a seamstress. Go spend your money. We stop spending our money with Louis, Polo, and everybody else and start spending. Look, FUBU, big example. FUBU was one of the first, not the first, but I'm just saying one of the ones that came out and was just black owned, yes, for us, by us. And what we do, shun them. It's whack, it's country, it's Bama. It didn't last long. if we learn how to stop being so scrutinizing over our own people, and they're going all aspects, whether they are boss, whether they are whatever, if we free our mind from holding ourselves and fine combing ourselves, when we don't fine comb our counterparts, we take whatever they say. We know they jerking us. We complain about it to each other, but we don't never correct them. But when we see somebody like us with power, we find every way to turn them down, whether they're in legislation. That's why a lot of us don't go to it, if you really want to be honest. I know that's one of the reasons that kept me kind of never wanting to step into my full light, because I didn't want to accept all that backlash that was gonna come with it. Everybody trying to tear me apart, like what you say when your introduction come on, right? Because you already know what it is. Be careful, make sure you keep it 100, because people can do their homework. When we did our homework on the laws, on the stuff that made importance in our life, look at how much better we would be. We do the right things, we're just doing for the wrong reasons. I'm done. I'm digressing. I don't want to take up too much time.
Hey.
That's it.
Knowledge is not power. I repeat, knowledge is not power. I'm tired of people saying that. And I would love to have a discussion about that. Knowledge applied is power. Knowledge applied is power.
Yes.
So we have to start acquiring. We have to stop. I don't know. Maybe it's something in the water. I don't know. I don't understand. People will complain. They will say they want change. They say they want things to shift. They'll say they're tired. They'll post it 5 billion times on Facebook as their statuses. They'll do captions underneath their IG posts. And not one time do they step out there and actually make a move to do something different. We're getting ready to bring this to a close. Man, we touched a lot. I feel like we touched a lot on freedom, and I feel like we got to definitely get back in that. T Spills, before I let y'all, sign off, man, I want to do something. You reminded me of, I think it'd be a great idea, is to get some women up here that were in relationships with men that were incarcerated as a panel. I think anybody, my wife can definitely speak about it. But I don't know if she'll want to be a part, but I definitely want to get that going. So you just sparked that idea. Yeah, good idea. On that note, Sabir, thank you, man. Final words, man. Final thoughts to Mr. Sabir. And whenever I think about Sabir, I'm used to the glasses.
Yeah, I had to take them joints off, man. I'm tired, bro.
You on the couch, you got the big pillow behind you, and I want to
say, man,
sign off, man. Thank you, man.
Hey, I appreciate.
You got the vest on. Don't think I want.
Yeah,
I mean, you came straight off. Boom. So final words, final thoughts. Not final, but for now.
In regard, I'm just gonna stick to this one topic instead of just, something got to change. Something got to change. You know what I'm saying? Like it's stuff ain't getting no better, man. You know what I'm saying? And this might sound crazy, but I'm just being honest, right? You sit and you wait week after week, month after month, year after year, itching to get back out here. And just to be completely honest, I don't like a lot of stuff that I see. I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Stuff got to change. It's just, it's like, it got to change. So I don't have the answers. I don't know what to say. I know that what you said is a key factor. Like there has to be some action. It can't, Facebook posts, and we just so negative as a society, man. It got to be a change. Stuff got to change. That's it.
Concur 100,000%. T Spills, what you got for us?
Free your mind and apply what you learn. That's all I can say. Double back on what you said. Free your mind, apply what you learn, and be the change you want to see. Change start with you. change can be infectious. So if you change and you exemplify changing, like they say about you, my brother, you walking like you talking, brother Sabir. So you just keep on being infectious everywhere you go. Just keep planting those seeds, and that's all we can do is plant the seeds and hope that they produce the fruit. And we plant them, they'll get water. We can't. We just got to stop trying to control when they grow. We can't control that. We can only control planting the seed. Not what they do with the seed. And I'm gonna leave y'all with that. And thank you so much. Mwah. It's so dope.
Nah, I appreciate you.
Man.
Can I say something real quick too, like touching on what she just said?
Yeah.
In order to really truly, you know what I mean, you have to accept people for who they are. You have to. You can't control people. You know what I mean? You can't stipulate. If I deal with you, we deal with people. You have to accept the person for who they are. If you're not quite my cup of tea, by all means, you're free to part ways, and there's no love lost.
Facts. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let Fred close it out because Fred is here every Thursday like me, man. I'm gonna say this. I just know that sometimes when you come from the west side of Chicago, you think that there's a ceiling, and then you have enough heart to not do what everybody else around you is doing. And it gets scary as hell sometimes. You're going to get beat up because it's not easy when you take your own path. But I know that when you do, you find new places, new people, and you start understanding these ceilings, they don't exist. I can tell you that. And I don't know nothing at all. I know nothing, but I just know that I'm starting to learn some things because I refuse to be what society wants me to be. I continue to fight for my freedom as I've always fought for my freedom. I continue to fight for the freedom of those that I love, and I continue to fight for the freedom of those that I don't even know at all because I believe in freedom. That's my word. I'm going to shout it out now, man. Next week, filming begins. The documentary is in motion, man. So I just wanted to shout that out before I leave off here. It's because of y'all. I threw it out there just to see what the feedback was, and it was good feedback, and we are here. And we got big plans with it, and that's what's up. So shout out to everybody that pushes me, motivates me to continue to be free. And that's what I got with that. And I'm about to mute mine and let my co-host, man, the Mr. Freddie Williams down there, go ahead and
when I came on, I was actually immersed for the prior maybe 4 hours in watching something that I wasn't aware of, and it was this whole drill rap thing in Chicago, in the Bronx, and wherever. And to say that I was appalled at the number of murders that were associated with these young people, man, it would be an understatement. So if I could say anything, I would say this. You can look at certain animals, and I'll take a duck, and it's born on the land, but it gravitates toward water. And I say that to say that just because we're born in something doesn't mean we need to be bound to that thing. I get that we're from the hoods and we're from urban areas and crime. We do not have to be bound by that. But we'll never live above the level of our thinking. And there's been a great job that's been done on my thinking, your thinking, our thinking. But the thing is, it can be changed. If anyone doesn't like the direction their life is going in, you are one thought away from beginning to change the trajectory of your life. Not one action, not one job, not one bank account. You're one thought away from changing the trajectory of your life. If we could just start to raise our thinking, raise the way that we think. Tobias said, let people be who they are. You know, one thing I've embraced is that every human being on this planet has a right to live the way they want to live, which now makes the choice on me. I'm either going to get with them or I'm not. But either way, you're free to live your life. Nobody has to die for choices they make. No one has to be maimed or crippled. So my thing is, we've got to address our thought process. Our thought process is everything. And along with mental freedom, there's another level, and it's spiritual freedom. It's actually a higher level. And if you rock with that, you do. If you don't, you don't. But for those who do, Sabir and T Spills and life, we know there is a higher level of freedom. You know, I used to think I was mentally free until I got spiritually free and realized I was captive. So we've just got a lot to do, but it all starts with the way that we think. And if we do not think that there are agencies and entities who are fully engaged in determining and impacting the way that we think, we've been duped worse than what we even can imagine. So we're a great people from a great lineage, great bloodline. Let's just start to think at a higher level. Think peace, think life, think benevolence, think things that are contributing factors to a peaceful society. And that's like it. It was a lot. It was nothing, but it's something.
This guy, man.
Hey, we thank everybody. No, I'm not going to close out. You do that.
Oh, hey, man. You don't know it. He hasn't figured out yet. He's the co-host, but he thinks he's still a guest host, but he's on here every Thursday. We'll figure it out one day.
Yeah.
This is how it always been.
Change that thought process.
This is how it always been. Okay. You got me the first time, though. I got you the rest of the time. You figure it out. It's all with good intention. We're going to a good place. I'll sign off since he put it. Get with a team, get with people that desire to be free, that aren't hindered by anything other than that. That's all I'm gonna say, man. Yo, tap in with T Spills, man. The Powered by Virginia crew, man. Make sure you're checking out her podcast. If you don't know how to get to it, you can go over to the D100 TV page right there. I repost all her stuff, or you can go to Powered by Virginia, or you can go to her page, T Spills. I shout all your stuff. Yeah, all that. Lock in with her on Wednesdays. You know what I'm saying? You can call in. You call in and get involved, get interactive with her. You know what I'm saying? She doing things different. If she was in Georgia, she'd be my co-host, and we have a set. That's as far as I'm concerned. I shouted her out the whole way.
No doubt.
Sabir, the most humble dude in the room, man. I appreciate you again, man. Hey, I already know how it is, man. Hey, you tired and you still got up here. You dropped some jewels. I appreciate it. Fred,
no doubt.
I ain't got nothing for you, Fred.
Fred Fred. I love you, Pastor Fred. You all right with me? I like all y'all do. Thank you so much. But Pastor Fred, you on your way if you ain't already a pastor, sir.
I'm going over here. I'm about to end the broadcast. Never mind. Anyways, hey, peace, love, and blessings to y'all.
Peace, y'all. Peace. Appreciate y'all.
Whether you celebrate the holidays or not,
One
man.
love.
Yeah, still, it's a time you can still come together, man. And if you don't got family, hopefully you got friends. And if you don't got friends, hey, tune in with us on live, and we're gonna be up here talking, man. And we're gonna thug our way through, man. To everybody that's fighting for freedom, keep fighting. For everybody that's just fighting any noble cause and righteous cause in 2022 going into 2023, I salute y'all because we got work to do. That's it.
No
I'm
doubt.
gone.
Love y'all. Peace.
Yeah.
Stay blessed, stay up, stay sucker free, y'all.
Yeah. All right, Sabir.
All right, man.
Love you,
Good
man.
to see you, man. Love you too, man.
No